All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, October 22nd. We got a 12-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within each game as well. But as always, guys, make sure to keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of our final plays yesterday, we do go 1-3. I guess the good news is our biggest play was the 0.33 unit play on Şengün over 8.5 rebounds. That comes through, but it did come through at the cost of going to overtime and killing that under. Game would have been well under without overtime. And then the second game, Warriors and Lakers. I mean, I'm not going to sweat these too much, right? Early in the year, I feel like the reads were kind of there, but under 227.5, game finished at 228, and then Steph finished with 23 points. Really, really bad first quarter from him. So a 1-3 night to start the NBA season. That's not the good news there. But you know what? The good news is the ride of the day. Drop it to Ching. Pump in some crowd noise for Chris here. Reed Shepherd over 8.5 points comes through. He did finish with 9, so had to sweat it out a little bit, but that was a cash nonetheless for the ride of the day. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll in ride of your plays. We track it here. If you do lose, unfortunately, yeah, you still get the shout out, but we're talking about a loss, and you have to face a womp womp from the soundboard, right? So get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. Chris, looking forward to seeing what you're rolling with today. Let's see if we can go on a little bit of a streak to start the NBA season. But guys, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into game number 1 here. Magic taking on the Heat. Right now, Magic 8-point favorites. That total's bumping around between 214.5 and 215. Injuries are worth noting in this one. No Mo Wagner for Orlando. Jalen Suggs is questionable. On the other side of things, Khalil Ware is questionable, and Tyler Hero is listed as out. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is going to be a massively high-scoring game. You have two top 10, technically, defenses from just a year ago facing off here. But where I will give the Magic some credit is I think they have some decent firepower, right? Desmond Bane now on the squad, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero. That's a 2-3-4, trio that I think can do some damage. So to me, this is a decent enough spot to take a peek at the Magic. I'd like them at 7.5. I've seen that number, but it might be far gone now. But overall, could even be a parlay piece with Magic money line, right? So I do think the Magic are the team to pull out here. The only reason I'm a little hesitant with a large-ish number is, 1, opening night for them. Both teams, anything can happen here. But 2, if I think it's going to be somewhat low scoring, which, by the way, because of the defenses, I don't mind the idea of an under, right? If I think it's going to be somewhat low scoring, having that 8 points of separation throughout the game can get a little dicey, right? So, yeah, I do like the Magic here. Big number and all. I do like it, but I could see this being like a 5-6 point win for them, and it's like, well, that would really stink. But give me the Magic here as well as the under. In terms of a player prop spot that I'm liking, I think Jalen Suggs points plus assists could be a decent enough look here. Right now you can get it for plus 152. It's 12.5. I do like the spot for him. I also like him to hit 2 threes. I think Jalen Suggs, yes, he is questionable, so if he doesn't play, obviously these get voided. But with Banchero, with Franz Wagner, with Paolo Banchero, I think with Bane, right? I just said Banchero twice. I do think he's going to have a lot of opportunity to be a true point guard and stuff like that. And last year he hit the over 12.5 points plus assists, right? In 74% of games. When he played 25 or more minutes, 89%. When he played 30 minutes, he only missed it in 2 games, 17 of 9, 89%. So I do like the spot for him to go out there and do some work as a point guard and a nice points plus assist spot. But again, it kind of comes down to how much do we think he's going to play. Obviously, they have Banchero, Wagner, Bane. All these guys can run the point themselves. So if you don't think he's going to get the minutes, then I do understand maybe you're not liking this one as much. But as of right now, I like Jalen Suggs. All right, next game up here, we got the Charlotte Hornets taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Listen, I don't think this is going to be all that great of a game. Shocker. But we do have the Hornets here laying 5 points. Totals at 227.5. The Hornets are going to be a little bit healthier, you'd think, than last year, right? They have Miller now healthy. LaMelo Ball starting the season healthy. Grant Williams, Josh Green both listed as out. Now we have Michael Porter Jr. on the net side of things, so a little bit different look for them. I'm still going to say that the Hornets at home open this one up with a win. I do think that that backcourt is very, very good. You have Demon and Cam Thomas back there defending them. I think that we're going to have some success out of LaMelo and Brandon Miller this season. So yeah, I'm going to lean in that direction. Is it like the biggest of luck or something that I'm racing to the window to get down? Not necessarily, but we'll see. I've done crazier things. Keep an eye on the final plays, right? In terms of a total, I like the idea of a Brooklyn team total under. This was not exactly a terrible defense in Charlotte last year, especially in the paint. Now, from three, I could see them having some issues, but there's not like the best of shooters like Michael Porter Jr., the real only sharpshooter, Cam Thomas, Trey Mann, like Michael Porter Jr. really the only sharpshooter on the Nets right here. So if he's going to go out there and drop 50, then sure, maybe the Nets score a lot of points, but I don't really see the angle of them being able to do that efficiently, right? So I'm going to lean towards a team total under for the Nets in this spot. But a Charlotte win I can get behind. And I did just mention Michael Porter Jr., new team. I think he wants to show out. The weakness of the Hornets is that perimeter. I don't mind the idea of him, hitting 3 threes or scoring 20 points. Those are his lines right now. So Michael Porter Jr. definitely on the table in terms of something that I'm considering as well. But if I had to rank those, I'd probably go Hornets, Nets team total under, then Michael Porter Jr. props. Guys, real quick, before we do move on with the rest of the slate, I want to talk to you about Chalkboard. You need to get on Chalkboard. If you're not on there, you are absolutely missing out. Today, new users can get this Anthony Edwards 0.5 PRA line. 1 point it cashes, 1 rebound it cashes, 1 assist it cashes. They're also going to match your first deposit 100%. You put in $50, they're going to match it. You got a bankroll of $100 in Chalkboard. You can do the math. Anything you put in, they will double. And they just have a bunch of deals and promos going on the app right now. Really, really cool stuff. I'm not lying. Go check it out for yourself. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Also, guys, the cool thing about Chalkboard is they've now introduced game picks. Yes, you can pick money lines, you can pick spreads, you can pick totals, over-unders. Really awesome, guys. Go check it out. Link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games. All right, we got a good one here. We got the Knicks taking on the Cavs. Right now, Knicks getting 1.5 points. Total sitting at 228. In terms of injuries in this one, I don't think there's anything too major. I expect these guys to play, but obviously we'll see. Hunter is listed as questionable. Anunoby's probable. Karl-Anthony Towns is probable. You do have Darius Garland out, obviously, for this Cleveland team, and Josh Hart. So I guess I did say, not too many injuries, but what I mean is not too many injuries to monitor. I do think the guys that are questionable are most likely going to play, but there are some guys that are out. This should be a good one, right? We have the main guys playing as long as Cat plays, right? Mitchell, Mobley, even Jared Allen now, Jalen, Mikal Bridges, Anunoby, Towns. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. I'm going to lean towards the underdog, the Knicks here. Now, if this was a fully healthy Cavs team with Garland, with Strus, even a 100% Hunter, this would be an easy look for the Cavs for me. I said all last year, the Cavs are one of the best teams in the league as long as they have everybody. I don't think that they have the backlog of players in a sense to be able to manage a Darius Garland being out, or definitely not an Evan Mobley or Donovan Mitchell type of thing, and especially given the fact that one of the best ways this Cleveland team scored last year was off the pick and roll, whether it was Darius Garland coming off the pick and roll and scoring himself, giving it to Jared Allen, or driving and kicking, that type of thing, or Donovan Mitchell utilizing the pick and roll himself. This is a Knicks team that, isn't very good against the pick and roll, but again, no Darius Garland here, I think is a big miss in that pick and roll game. So to me, Knicks at home, season opener, plus the 1.5 points seems good enough there. In terms of a total, I do think we have a lot of scorers in this one, but I like both defenses as well. I'm going to lean under 228.5. In terms of player props, honestly, struggling to find exactly what we'd be looking for in this one. I would say, Evan Mobley, I do like the spot. I think that he'll be able to score in the paint, especially if Towns is covering him, because, I think we're going to have Yabusele out there, so either Mobley's going to have a length advantage over Yabusele, or Towns, who I don't think is a decent shot blocker, but not the best defender in the world, right? So I think Mobley's in a decent enough spot here to consider for player prop overs. All right, next up, yes, I might be a little biased here. We got the Celtics taking on the Sixers. Obviously, there are some injuries to note for the Celtics team. We don't know if Jaylen Brown's going to play yet. Jason Tatum out with the Achilles. But on the other side of things, McCain and Paul George also out for the Sixers. I like the Celtics in this spot. That is a very, very low number. Derek White, still a obviously very, very good player. You have Simons now on the squad, who I'm very big on this year. I know the Celtics and even Celtics fans are trying to shop him to get a trade going, but I think that Anthony Simons could fit really well into this team, whether it's the pick and roll or the catch and shoot, right? So I think the Celtics team has what it takes to win today. Maybe I'm being biased as a Celtics fan, but let me just opening night be biased, all right? Before you jump in the comments, call me a biased Celtics fan. Give me the Celtics minus the 2 points here. Total sitting at 229. I think that this one is a spot in which the Celtics can put up a decent number. The Sixers team, I don't love the defense from them whatsoever. You know, Embiid's still down there. We'll see if he cares this year or something like that, right? Actually, do we? Yeah, we have a. I haven't heard anything about Embiid being dinged up or coming into the year hurt or overweight. So we have a fully healthy Embiid. He can torch the Celtics from time to time, but still, I don't necessarily think that this is going to be a Sixers great game, but I guess I could see some points. So I'll lean over, but it's probably more so a Celtics team total over, if anything, in this spot. And from a player prop perspective, yeah, I already mentioned him. Anthony Simons, I do like the idea of him being able to score. His line's at, I think, 15.5 right now. Yeah, that's a little high. I was hoping more for like a 13 or 14.5, but a pivot there could easily be over 2.5 3-pointers made. That's something I can totally get behind for him. I think that he's going to have a lot of catch and shoot looks, as well as some pull-up looks, but a lot of catch and shoot looks with Derek White running the point, Jaylen Brown making the defense sag, that type of thing. Atlanta taking on Toronto. Atlanta 5.5 point favorites right now. That total way up there at 236.5. Now this is a game in which both of these teams were top 10 last year in terms of pace. I will say that both were pretty bad defensively in transition as well, but the Raptors scored below 50% in transition. I think that is definitely worth noting. Now, both these squads are healthier than ever, really, right? Starting lineup for Toronto, quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. On the other side, Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Ricochet, Jalen Johnson healthy, and now a new look with Kristaps there. I like the Hawks in this spot. I think that they're going to have a damn good year. Jalen Johnson being the key piece. Now, is Trae Young happy? What's going to happen with this? That's kind of like out the window for me. I really do think that Jalen Johnson is like the Achilles heel, good or bad in a sense, for this Hawks team. And we saw it last year. When he was banged up, they couldn't run in transition as well. They weren't scoring as many points. So the fact that he's good to go and he's healthy against a squad that allowed damn near 60% field goal percentage in transition last year, I think could be a good spot. So I like the idea of the Hawks winning this one. It's a really high number, and I feel crazy taking it, but man, there's nothing that's telling me that this one's going to go under, so I guess I'll lean towards an over, and I already mentioned his name. I like the idea of Jalen Johnson here. I think that he can get out in transition and run. I like his over 16.5 points. I don't mind his points plus rebounds either. Kristaps being the other guy there isn't like a bruiser or a big time rebounder or anything like that. I mean, he'll get his fair share of rebounds, but it's not like Kristaps prides himself on rebounds. In fact, a lot of the times Kristaps on offense will be sitting around the perimeter and shooting a three, and maybe Jalen gets a couple offensive rebounds, right? Guys, I wanted to let you know that our NBA dashboard, which if you guys are unaware, we build dashboards for each of the sports that we do here on the channel. Our NBA research dashboard is now live, and it is absolutely free to anyone that wants to use it for the first week of the NBA season. GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area and click NBA dashboard. It'll be $6.99 per month after the NBA season. We might just run it through October, so you get a couple extra days here. But you could see everything you need from a game-to-game perspective, helps you find things via color coding. We have all these team stats. We have actual stats in terms of field goal percentage from certain spots in the floor, the frequency they shoot it, isolation offense and defense, pick and roll offense and defense, catch and shoot, pull-up numbers, we have defense versus position, all this great stuff over on the NBA dashboard. And I love the little zoom scale thing that we made this year. It's the little things in life, guys. But anyways, check it out, GuyBostonSports.com. If you do want to sign up, you can click that sign up and you're going to get a couple different membership options. The MLB dashboard is still viable if you want it, right? But we only have the World Series left. The NFL dashboard is absolutely unreal, but I would just recommend $10.99 a month. You're going to get all of these dashboards with the All Sports dashboard. So go ahead and check it out. Again, that's GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area. Just try out the NBA dashboard for free. It is a great starting point for your research. I'll put that in the pinned comment as well. Next game up, we got the Bulls taking on the Pistons here. This Bulls squad, Giddey, Trey Jones, Isaac Okoro, Matas Buzelis, and Vucevic. Out for them is going to be Zach Collins and Kobe White. Kobe White, obviously a big piece there. On the other side of things, Jaden Ivey still out here for Detroit. Karis LeVert is probable. Nice little bench piece for them. But Cade Cunningham, now Duncan Robinson, Amen Thompson. We have, Asar Thompson, excuse me, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren at the 5. I think that's a pretty good team. Do they have the depth? No, that's where we're going to have to probably see this Pistons team struggle at times, but they looked really good at multiple points of the season last year, right? I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or anything like that. Like, I know that they weren't that good, but this was a team that surprised a lot of people last year, and I expect them to get even better as long as Cade Cunningham stays healthy. I think that he's going to be able to set up Duncan Robinson. I look for Duncan Robinson to be a nice little resurgence in a sense, but the biggest thing that I want to note here is the points in the paint. Now, this is a Detroit team that liked to score in the paint last year, and yeah, I don't really see them not doing that this year in a sense. I think that they can keep it down there with whether it's Thompson, whether it's even Harris getting to the paint with that little short paint, you know, mid-range kind of shot that he likes, and Jalen Duren for sure. So I think this is a good spot for Detroit. I actually like them on the money line. You can get them right now in the minus 130s. That's going to be the direction I lean in. The total is a tough one for me because I think Detroit, even though they played pretty fast last year, I anticipate them being a little bit more of a half-court team this year. I could be dead wrong, but I do think them setting up, you know, the pick and roll out to a shooter and that type of thing could be pretty effective, and not making Duren run up and down the court and really having him step up this year. So I'm going to lean towards an under in this spot. I think they control this game and keep it under. In terms of player props, I do like the idea of Jalen Duren. For him to go out there and get a double-double, you're paying a lot of juice, but that might be something that I look at. You could also just take a peek at his points. I think that this is a decent enough spot for him. 3 of his 4 games last year, he scored 15 plus against this Bulls squad. So yeah, decent enough look there for me. And you get plus money right now for him to score 15 points. I think he's going to get set up a lot in this game, and obviously he's going up against Vucevic, who's a big body and everything like that, but again, this is a Bulls team that you could score in the paint. I think they were dead last in terms of points in the paint allowed. Where do you think Duren's going to be scoring from, right? In the damn paint. So I like the spot for him today. All right, Grizzlies taking on the Pels. We got apparently a skinny Zion to keep an eye out for today, right? DeJounte Murray is still out for Memphis. Tons of injuries, for the Pelicans. Tons of injuries on the Memphis side of things. Not Ja, that's obviously important to note, but Clark, Edey, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr., and Vince Williams all out for Memphis. I kind of like the idea of the Pelicans in this one, plus the 4.5 points. Now, Memphis, obviously a very good team at home. They have been. When Ja plays, that's a big kind of lift for them. They have KCP, Jaren Jackson. This should be a good game and a back-and-forth game. So I don't mind if someone's out there being like, nah, the Memphis is the move. Memphis is the move here. I just am curious to see a Zion that maybe actually took his health into account this season. Now, let's temper expectations, because it could be like the Luka effect or the Embiid, where we've lost so much weight this offseason, then you see them on the court and it's like, were those pictures photoshopped? You don't look any different. So we want to make sure, and again, even with even video evidence hasn't looked all that damning, right? So we'll see if Zion's, healthy. But I do think that Jordan Poole with Trey Murphy, Herb Jones could be in a decent enough spot here. I know people are off the Jordan Poole bandwagon, and I get it, but he's been in kind of like a dumpster fire situation forever. This guy is a guy that can score some buckets, so I think that he'll be able to score some. Zion should be good. Trey Murphy, I'm really looking forward to this year. And oh yeah, one of my favorite defenders in the league, Herb Jones. Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice spot to look at New Orleans. In terms of a total, I want to look at the under. I know that this is going to be a Grizzlies team that wants to run, but I think there's going to be some defense out of the Pelicans in this spot, and that total is a little too high for me, at least for opening night. I'm going to lean towards the under 237 in this spot. All right, we can be quick with this one. Bucks taking on the Wizards. I'm really not seeing too much reason to back the Wizards at any point here. I don't necessarily love the squad. I do think that Milwaukee is obviously the better angle here. So, yeah, and they have Miles Turner now. I think that that'll be a nice little piece. I lean Milwaukee, but maybe as some sort of a parlay piece or something like that, right? You know how we liked the Magic earlier? Maybe we can toss in Milwaukee and the Magic, see what the odds come out. I also don't mind the idea of a Washington team total under. And then in terms of player props, nothing that I'm ultimately loving, but a potential look at Kyle Kuzma. Easy matchup going up against his old squad. You want to make that argument? You could also say, hey, Chris Middleton against his old squad. Those are like the only two narratives that I'm interested in this game. Unfortunately, another one that we can kind of be quick about, and I'm saying quick because it's like these huge spreads, it's early enough in the year where, like, say, the Jazz in this game could somehow keep it close. You know what I mean? But we do have a new look Clippers squad, right? We got Harden, Kawhi, and Bradley Beal now on the same team. There are some injuries, Isaiah Collier and George Niang and Bailey out for this Jazz squad. Yeah, it's going to be Clippers for me. Maybe that's a parlay spot. Clippers and the Bucks. I doubt we're going to get decent enough odds there. But to me, I want to see what this Jazz team does before ever thinking they can cover a big number. It was a team that actually did score from three pretty well last year, but this is a top 10 defense on the perimeter in the Clippers. And the Clippers also were dominant in terms of scoring in the paint. The funny thing is they were that efficient in the paint. They didn't even lead the league in points in the paint attempted. They were like number 3 or 4, but they were, I think on the road last year, a top 2 team scoring in the paint. Either way, we're getting to the nitty gritty. I think the Clippers win this one handily, but again, it's a little too early in the year for me to lay 10.5 points. Total sitting at 226. Don't mind the idea of a Jazz team total under. I think the Jazz may try to run, but, I sit here and I look at this Clippers squad and I'm like, hey, they might want to play slow, especially with the veterans they have. So Jazz team total under or under in the full game. I'm excited to watch this one. Spurs, Mavericks here. Obviously, both teams very, very different looking than a year ago. D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively starting here for Dallas. Kyrie Irving is out, Dante Exum's out, and Daniel Gafford most likely out. On the Spurs side of things, we have Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Champagnie, Victor Wembanyama. I do believe De'Aaron Fox is still out, so that kind of stinks. I think Stephon Castle will be starting, but he's obviously showed a lot last season. If we did have De'Aaron Fox, I would be on the Spurs here. I'll tell you that right now. But I think the number would be a little bit different. I love him in the little glimpse we saw last year of him and Victor in the pick and roll. I think this is a Dallas team that just has everything you need in a sense. Now, I think it's going to be a very public play. I do. But I still do think that, Cooper Flagg with Klay Thompson there to hit the shot. Anthony Davis down low. Even Derek Lively now healthy. Like, this is a legitimate team. And D'Angelo Russell, we've seen be able to be a true point guard at multiple points now since being on different teams, right? So, yeah, to me, this is a spot in which I'm sitting there saying, hey, Mavericks all the way today. I think it's going to be a very chalky play. Number 1 pick, flashy new toy and shiny new toy, all that, but that's the direction I'm going to lean in. I also don't mind the idea of an over. I think that there's a lot of offensive scorers in this spot. Another spot in which I feel like this is like a fan angle or a pretty damn public play, though. All right, we got the Suns taking on the Kings here. In terms of who's starting for the Suns, we have Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Ryan Dunn, Dylan Brooks, and Mark Williams. So obviously a new-look Suns squad. Going up against Sacramento, Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Drew Eubanks, because Keegan Murray as well as Sabonis are out in this spot. So Sabonis being out as Keegan Murray, it automatically kind of makes me take a peek at the Suns. That's a side that I'm going to look at. In terms of the total, I don't mind an under here. We have 2 half-court offenses, 2 teams that like to shoot in the mid-range and everything like that. But where I probably end up getting down a final play, I would say is Mark Williams, the new Sun here. I like him over 11.5 points. You can get it for like minus 118 right now. This is a guy that him and Devin Booker, I imagine, are going to torch in the pick and roll. Not necessarily all season long, but against a Sacramento team that was 3rd to last in terms of affected field goal percentage in the pick and roll and also score percentage. I think a lot of points come by way of the pick and roll tonight. And obviously we're using last year's data. That's a little bit different. I get it. But to me, it's still a decent enough spot. So yeah, I also don't mind Booker, by the way, 28.5 points. It is pretty damn high, but I like his points plus assists. I think he can go out there and drop a few dimes as well, especially when he's going to have the ball for, forever him getting 7. I think his line right now is either 7.5 or 6.5. Really don't mind that. Last time he played this Kings team, he had 13 assists, so maybe that's a decent enough look as well. Again, he's going to have the ball a ton, so maybe we double dip into this one. We look at Booker assists and Mark Williams in terms of rebounds. That's definitely something, rebounds in terms of points. So Booker assists, Mark Williams points, definitely two things that I'm considering in this spot. All right, Blazers taking on the T-Wolves. Biggest thing to note here is we're going to want to keep an eye on the injury report, because if Anthony Edwards plays, I don't know how you don't look at Minnesota -4, right? But that'll obviously be a huge thing to note. I do like them even without Anthony Edwards. It's still a really, really low line. And, oh yeah, Damian Lillard, Scoot Henderson, and Robert Williams are all out for Portland. So their starting lineup is Drew Holiday, Shaedon Sharpe, Denny Advia, Tamani Kamara, and Klingon. So I do still think that, a lineup of Conley, McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Rudy Gobert is still a little bit better. So I'm going to take a peek at the Timberwolves even without Minnesota. But man, the fact that we could potentially get a Anthony Edwards-led Minnesota team and he gets ruled in and you just snagged them at this number seems like it's a doable spot for me. So yeah, that's a spot that I like. Guys, it's gonna wrap it up, or in terms of the total, excuse me, don't mind the idea of an over here. I do think that we could have a lack of defense, not on both sides, but the Timberwolves, I think without Anthony Edwards, might want to run a little bit more, and the Portland Trail Blazers should be running. That's the only way that I see them sticking in this game, so don't mind the over. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment 25 down below if you made it this far into the video. Really excited for this NBA season. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.